Mr. Bradbury, in Fahrenheit 451, I have it here,
Yes.
you imagined the disappearance of books. So what is now the significance of coming to the book fair in Buenos Aires?
Well, the books haven't disappeared, thank goodness, but they're an endangered species, you might say, especially in the United States, where our educational system doesn't teach reading and writing enough. So we're raising a whole generation of children who are ignorant, and that puts us in a terrible position, because we've always said we didn't want an elitist society. But if you don't teach reading and writing, you have a whole generation of ignorant people, and the top elite would be the book readers then, wouldn't they? So we're making this sort of situation for ourselves, not intending to do so, but that's the way it will turn out.
Do you think the only way to be educated is by means of the books?
Yes, yeah, because it's a personal thing. Books are children. They're babies to be held in your hands, to be to your breast, to be carried with you, and you can't carry a computer with you, and you can't carry the internet with you.
Yes.
But a book is a friend that you clasp, and you taste, you smell. It's intimate, and you can't get that any other way.
Besides books, you've written scripts and plays too.
Yeah.
Which is the difference of writing a book or a play or a script?
There's very little difference as far as love is concerned. I grew up loving theater, so I began to write plays. I brought many plays with me here, and I brought an opera with me here, which I hope will be produced in Buenos Aires the next year or so.
Yeah.
I love musicals. I've written a musical with Jose Feliciano.
Jose Feliciano?
Yes, I did the musical a few years ago in Los Angeles of The Wonderful Ice Cream Suit, which is the story of 5 young Hispanic men who buy a ice cream suit and move into a tenement with it, and their adventures with the suit. So Feliciano did the music and the lyrics, and some of the lyrics I did myself.
I see. How do you imagine many of the subjects that have been written in your books and in science fiction in general are in our everyday life now? So
I could see it coming a long time ago. You know, when I was 8 years old, I fell in love with the science fiction books because of the fantastic buildings on the covers, the cities of the future. And I wanted to be part of building those cities.
yeah.
And I went to the Chicago World's Fair when I was 13 and fell in love with architecture even more. And in 1939, the World's Fair in New York. So I could see television coming. I could see the effects of radio. I saw what was happening with motion pictures. I sensed a long time ago that the hydrogen bomb, the atom bomb, was a Christian invention which prevented war, which it did. It caused Russia to back down. We had this power. They had it too, but there was an equal force. And that caused eventually an opportunity to preach freedom in the world, to let Russia know there was something beyond its boundaries. So the atom bomb was a protector, and we waited for the Russian Empire to fall, and it did. So a lot of good came out of a terrible invention.
Yes.
So if you look at each invention as it comes along, you can try to guess the future. And some uses of television are wonderful for information, really good shows. And your local TV news in most countries, certainly all over the United States, is idiotic, it's moronic, it's lunatic.
Yeah, all over the world.
And it's destructive because it gives us a false sense of the world being evil and destroyed and deadly. And that's not true. It's a partial truth.
Yes.
So in the States, everywhere I go, I tell people not to watch the local television news. I don't know how it is here, if it's just as dumb.
Yes, I can tell you afterwards if you want. It's a long subject. Yes. Yes, in general, yes. But which is the aim nowadays for science fiction?
Well, I think...
What you can imagine now.
Well, my own personal thing is having fun with the medium, paying attention to those writers who influenced me. In my new book, Quicker Than the Eye, I wrote a story called Final Rites, in which I get in a time machine and go back and visit Edgar Allan Poe on his deathbed, and Herman Melville on his deathbed, and Oscar Wilde, to tell them that I love them and that there are people in the future, in our time, who still love them, and they're busy dying on their deathbeds, and I go visit them and I wake them up, and I put Herman Melville's Moby Dick on his bed, new editions, and I say, Herman, wake up here, you're not forgotten, because when he died he was forgotten. And then I go to Edgar Allan Poe and I say the same thing. He was not that well known and he was not that well loved, but in our time, since I was 9 years old, I fell in love with Edgar Allan Poe. So I wrote the story to pay my respects to three incredible talents, to pour out my love and to say, Lazarus, come out of the tomb.
Yes, I see. Which is your opinion of the future now, the future of humanity?
The basic, people are always saying to me, are you an optimist? I say, no, that's fraudulent. I don't believe in optimism. Are you a pessimist? No, I'm not a pessimist. I don't believe in pessimism. What do you believe in? And I say optimal behavior. Optimal behavior. That if all of us, in all of our cultures, in all of our societies, behave to the top of our genetics, the top of our lungs, the top of our desires and dreams, we can do anything. So my view of the future is if we behave together toward that future with enthusiasm and with love and for caring for our children, so we raise them up into that future, then it's going to be glorious.
Yeah,
so
but that's what that is not what we see.
No, but I'm going to change it all by myself.
You are going to change. Oh, that's fine. I think you said that you believe really now in life in other planets. Is it true?
Well, it's always been true. I mean, there are too many planets,
Yeah.
There are 10 or 15 billion planets, plus 25 billion suns. So the life is out there. It's just too far away for us to see. But the important thing is the life here. We should look at ourselves and say, this is a gift from the universe, from the cosmos, from the life force, from the creation, from God, however you want to name it. It's impossible. We are totally impossible. And that life should occur on the earth, and that we should grow up with the gift of seeing, and millions of years ago, the first man creatures stood in the caves and looked at the stars and said, I want those, I want the moon. And we are privileged to be a generation of people who say, I not only want it, but I will get it. So we're going to go back to the moon, we're going to colonize Mars, and we'll move out through the universe. It's a very, very exciting, very wonderful.
In how many years do you think that will happen? Because now everything is so quick,
Well, the problem with most politicians in most countries is they have no imagination. And in my own country, only one or two senators, a few representatives of the House of Representatives are as excited by space travel as I am. So, and the NASA is its own enemy. They don't reach high enough. So my job, while I still am alive, is to reinvigorate the Apollo program and get the Congress behind space travel again. It'd be very few millions of dollars compared to
so many other things.
War armaments and that sort of thing. Very cheap.
Because I'm thinking the men arrived to the moon in 1968. It's a long time, and then it stopped.
Well, because of the failure of imagination, and we got involved again with the Cold War, more and more of the Cold War. So we put a lot of our activities into the Star Wars concept of protecting our country from Russia. And we lost track of the great thing, which involves all of mankind in every country and every city in the world. The night we landed on the moon, July 20th, 1969.
69.
We all cried together. We all wept with joy.
I remember, yeah.
So we have to have more evenings like that, which are not fake. They're not fake evenings. They're real. We actually went there.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
thought I would be an old man when that happened. I was only 49 years old, And so
you thought you were old.
I thought it would happen right around now, but it happened 25, 26 years ago.
Do you think men, human beings, have improved with all the discoveries, the technical discoveries and all that? Are we better than
yes and
before?
no, yes and no. No invention, very few inventions improve us. The video cassette is one of the great inventions
The video cassette.
to improve mankind, because now we have available very cheaply, anyone that's listening to me can go to the nearest video cassette store and for a few pennies rent the greatest films ever made.
Yeah.
You put together your own little film society among your friends, and you each put in 10 cents.
Yeah.
Each put in a quarter of a peso, and you that's nothing for each. Even the poorest person in society can afford to form a little group, and you get 10 or 12 people to put in a few pesos, and you rent the great documentaries on architecture, the history of France, or the history of Argentina, or the history of bridge building all around the world, or the history of Germany. It's all available now on video cassette. There are no negatives. There are no negatives.
Yeah.
Whereas when you look at the internet, that is sort of a wide expanse of playing with toys, and wasting your time if you're not careful. Whereas with the video cassette, you can get together with some friends and make a decision. Say, tonight we're going to run Lawrence of Arabia,
Yes.
or tonight we're going to run Triumph of the Will by Leni Riefenstahl, and learn about the history of Hitler and Germany and how we were led into the Great War, the Second World War.
Don't you think internet is just beginning? Maybe in the future it will be better
We don't
than
know.
now.
Well, first of all, it's too big, and it's offering too many alternatives,
too
and
wide.
it doesn't offer. It looks like it might be intelligent, but it's better to go to a library, because you get those lists on the
For
internet.
me, of course, I'm sure. Yeah.
And you go to the library, you get the same list, but then you have the wonderful experience of pulling a book off the shelf, the real thing, not something out here, something close at hand. So already many of the internet companies are collapsing. They thought they knew what they were doing, but they didn't know. They don't know what to do with themselves. And there's a danger to destroy or hurt individuals through stealing their property. Already many internet people are saying to me, I'm going to take your book and put it on the internet, and you get nothing.
Yes,
You
I
spent a lifetime creating this,
Writing,
but it belongs to the people. Well, that's communist junk. That's ridiculous. It doesn't belong to the people.
No.
You deserve to get a decent 10 cents or 25 cents. If for my paperback books, I get maybe 30, 35, 40 cents a copy. Well, that's not much compared to the pleasure I give you. Am I worth 40 cents to you?
That's right, yes. And it's your money.
That's right. Yeah.
How do you imagine life in other planets?
It's unimaginable. If we are so fantastic here, the way to judge life on other planets is to go to the edge of the ocean and look down on our ocean here on Earth, and look at all those life forms there. Totally different than ourselves. Breathing the water, breathing the water.
Yeah.
And there are bacteria on our planet who are don't need oxygen. They breathe other things.
Yes.
When you think of the caterpillar and the butterfly, totally impossible. I mean, this little worm crawling around and eats some food, and then it encloses itself in a chrysalis and comes out as a new creature. It must have been centuries before men and women, thousands of years ago, figured out these are two creatures were the same one.
Yes, it's true.
So if that can happen with the chrysalis and the change of the caterpillar to the butterfly, think of what can happen on other worlds. And
I can't imagine.
The interrelationship of many sea creatures with one another, the interrelationship of certain insects with certain flowers, flowers that look like other insects or look like birds,
yes.
and as a result get themselves pollinated. Incredible relationship.
I think so. Do you write every day yourself?
Every day since I was 12 years old, yeah.
You didn't stop a single day?
Never.
Really?
Life's too exciting.
Now here, when you travel, you write too?
I've been making notes, yeah.
Yes.
I'm not able to write a lot, but I've already come up with ideas with my friends here. They say something and say, oh, that's a poem.
And how many stories do you have?
How many? I'm sorry.
How many stories you've written?
500 I've published.
500.
500,
yes.
and then I have another 300 or 400 I haven't finished yet.
How many?
Another 300 or 400.
300 or 400.
I haven't counted because they're in my files, you see. I put them away, and I forget that they're there, and I'm like a papa bird. I come back to the nest every once in a while, and I open a file, and I look down at all these stories. I say, who wants to be fed next? I got a worm here, you know? And then one of the stories says, me, and so I give that story the worm, and it's born.
You travel all over the world all the time or not? Is it true that you're afraid of planes?
I'm sorry?
Are you afraid of planes, of airplanes? You don't like
No,
traveling?
that's all over. That was years ago, yeah.
But you had that
I
sensation.
discovered, well, I used to think I was afraid of flying, but I discovered I was afraid of me, And I was afraid I'd run up and down the aisles and scream and say, stop the jet, And when I didn't do that, I said, what's going on? And I said, well, all the time I was afraid of me. So then the fear went away. Now I fly everywhere.
You fly. Because I imagine a person who writes science fiction and is afraid of planes.
Well, a lot of times we write about the things that we fear. Yeah. So there's no different. There's no.
That's right.
There's nothing different about that. I'm afraid of a lot of other things that I write about. I'm afraid of the dark still, I'm sure. If I were tested, if you made me go into a graveyard tonight at midnight, I don't think I'd be comfortable.
I see.
Yeah.
That's
so you're right about. I'm afraid of women too, and I write about them all the time.
It's a way too of putting all your fears outside.
Sure, yeah, and then you examine them and you say, oh, they're okay after all.
Yes, I can manage with it.
That's right.
Well, I thank you very much for this.
Real pleasure, and I hope to come back in the near future.
I hope you'll come back.
I will.
Many years we waited for you and
well,
you didn't
no,
come.
I'll be back probably in 2 years.
With another book, of course.
And an opera and all my plays.
Opera.
Yes. I want to put an opera on in your opera house. And I brought down a script today, which I've given to my friends here. And I hope they'll turn it over to the opera people, and they'll agree.
And you'll have Fahrenheit in cinema.
Yes, I've done a new script for Mel Gibson.
For Mel Gibson,
and he's going to direct it and act in it next year.
Next year.
Next year.
The script is yours too.
That's mine. Yes.
You changed some things, or you left it?
No, I put the whole book in the script, and the original film didn't use the whole book, so I put all the missing pieces back in.
So this one will be complete.
Yes, I hope so.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Real pleasure.